Hello, and welcome. The goal of this presentation is to lead you through the GE case analysis and the impact former CEO Jack Welch had on the company and the global business landscape as a whole. More importantly though, this presentation outlines our leadership experience over the last 7 weeks and then discusses the foundational elements that this course has to offer for our journey through the organizational leadership program. We'll start by discussing the leadership and team experience during the last 7 weeks in this course, followed by a GE case analysis and an in-depth look at what Jack Welch has done in his time at the company. We'll then wrap things up with some final thoughts about the last 7 weeks and the course. Throughout our interactions over the past 7 weeks, we've all taken leadership roles based on the situation and our comfort level with the topic, which lends itself well to the contingency model. Coming from various backgrounds, we have different perspectives on how Welch led GE, but we are equally as enriched by the diversity of views on the company and his leadership. Ironically, we all stated that we could work for a leader like Welch. We were able to develop a clear vision of what we needed to get done, who was going to do it, and when it was going to get done with a limited amount of deliberation. When one person had a question, it seemed as though we all had the same question and problems, though small, that did arise, were quickly resolved. Over the past 7 weeks, our team structure evolved not in a traditional pyramid format, but more into a web concept similar to the one developed by Meg Whitman, the former CEO of eBay. By evenly distributing the workload and working to our strengths, we had an egalitarian power structure. Now, a look at GE and its former CEO Jack Welch. As a leader, Jack Welch is easily viewed as having an authentic and transformational leadership style. Overall, Welch had a positive impact on the culture that remained at GE. This is evident by the sales, return on equity, S&P 500 stock price, and a number of other factors. For the thousands of employees displaced by Welch's leadership, earning him the moniker Neutron Jack, there was a negative effect on the culture. Some adore him and others vilify him. Though he is painted as a great leader, he did eliminate thousands of jobs in the beginning of his tenure. Through his years, he also weeded out a lot of nonconformers. People lost their jobs because of Jack Welch. But did he make them lose their jobs? Or did they write their own ticket when they did not dedicate 100% of themselves on the job to be number one or number two? In addition, one can argue that due to his length of tenure, the company culture and shareholders became too dependent on Welch's leadership style. Still, his impact on GE continues to be viewed as a paradigm for business leadership. Now, moving on to the questions. Question number 1. How would you describe Jack Welch's leadership style? Was his effect on organizational culture positive or negative? The answer: Welch's leadership was clearly effective and had a positive impact on the company's results, culture, and shareholders. With the extensive list of accolades GE garnered at the end of his time and his prominent influence as a leadership guru, there are more positive perceptions than negative. Finding the right people for the right job were key focus areas for Welch. As such, tough business decisions were made that impacted tens of thousands of GE employees and their families. For displaced employees, that they may have a negative view of Welch, others do not. The role of the leader is not to be liked by the followers, but to serve them and work toward the greater good of the organization and the customer. In that respect, Welch did an outstanding job leading GE. Question number 2. From a motivational perspective, was Welch an effective or ineffective leader? Overall, Welch was an effective leader because he possessed the ability to motivate his employees with an honest and straightforward approach in achieving success. Welch created a new culture at GE that focused on employees doing their best and being compensated for their performance. Question number 3. What was the influence on organizational design and strategy at GE under Welch's leadership? The answer: Welch exhibited several key leadership traits in his long tenure, such as self-confidence, intelligence, knowledge of the business, and drive. These traits, among his myriad leadership styles, as well as his charismatic personality, allowed him to be voted Manager of the Century and made GE voted Most Admired Company in the world through his influence on GE's organizational design and strategy. Finally, question number 4. Discuss how Jack Welch's leadership affected organizational change and learning at GE. Our answer? Undeniably, looking back at Welch's tenure at GE, one can see that he possessed a leadership style that positively affected the employees and business. He was able to adapt to a culture that needed change and took every opportunity to educate his workforce and lead by example. In the end, he was successful in doing so because of the strong belief in his own values, leadership by example, and true dedication in making GE a thriving company. Now for a summary of our experience. Though final assignments that are required to be completed in very limited time usually prove to be a difficult task, the team was able to synthesize all the content for the paper and presentation that you see here. As a whole, the team worked extremely well together, sharing the leadership role weekly when we had a very thought-provoking conversation on the assignments. In tackling the case study, the group equally distributed the questions that need to be answered, and everyone had a clear vision of what was needed to get done to complete the assignment. We each have a unique set of skills and experience to bring into our group discussions, and oftentimes it serves as inspiration in not only the weekly meeting minutes, but also into the journal entry and this presentation as well. This case study was insightful and a pleasure to write about and to present. That, combined with our group dynamic, made for a great class experience.